Hi everyone, this is Miss P and this is Multiplying Decimals. Today we are going to multiply a decimal number times another decimal number using the example of 3 and 15/100ths times 1 and 8/10ths. When multiplying decimals, the first thing you should do is remove the decimals. Rewrite the numbers as whole numbers to multiply the digits. In this case, we have 3 and 15/100ths, which we can write as 315. And we have 1 and 8/10ths, which we can rewrite as 18. Now that we've rewritten the numbers as whole numbers, we can multiply. We have to remember where the decimals are in the original problem because we're going to come back and look at that in order to determine where to put the decimals in the answer. Okay, since we have our whole numbers written out, we can go ahead and multiply them just as we would any other whole numbers. All right, we'll start in the ones column. 8 times 5 is 40. Can regroup the 4 there. 8 times 1 is 8 plus 4 is 12. Regroup that 1. 8 times 3 is 24 plus 1 is 25. We're done with the 8 there. We're done with the 4. We're done with the 1. Next, we'll go to the tens column here. The 1 in the number 18. We'll start actually by putting a placeholder there in the ones place. That 110 times 5 equals 5. 1 times 1 equals 1, and 1 times 3 equals 3. Now we can add our partial products together. 0 plus 0 is 0. 2 plus 5 is 7. 5 plus 1 is 6. And 2 plus 3 is 5. So by multiplying the whole numbers, we get a product of 5,670. Now we have to look back at the original problem with the decimals. Now the reason that this is important is because when we took the numbers with the decimals and we made them whole numbers, when we removed the decimals and simply used the digits as whole numbers, what we were really doing is multiplying each decimal number by powers of 10 until the decimal point reached the far right of the digits. So for example, in the number 3 and 15/100ths, we multiplied it by 1 to powers of 10. And in the number 1 and 8/10ths, we multiplied it by 1 power of 10 in order to make whole numbers. So since in our problem, we moved the decimal points 1, 2, and then 3 places to the right, we now have to move the decimal point the same amount of places to the left in our answer. And in any whole number, there's always a decimal point that lives at the end there. So since we move the decimal point 1, 2, 3 places to the right from the problem, we have to move this decimal point back 1, 2, 3 places to the left to get our ultimately correct answer. So our answer here becomes 5 and 670 thousandths, which we can also say as 5 and 67 hundredths. So 3 and 15/100ths times 1 and 8/10ths equals 5 and 67 hundredths.